All right, hello everyone. Happy New Year. I hope you all had a very good time with your guys' families. Had some great vacation and genuinely enjoyed your time. And here's to another year of YouTube content creation for me. I hope I can elevate my content because last year's was pretty much some slop that actually managed to do better than my expectations, and I managed to start something on this channel. So thank you guys so much for the support on that. And here's to another great year of this YouTube channel. Expect some great things. Some of you know that I have been away for a bit because I did a 7-day challenge where I beat Warframe in 7 days. There was a video about it. There were a ton of streams about it where a lot of people joined for the first time, and it was genuinely a great time. But expect a video of that is going to be really long, and it's probably going to be coming this month. So enough of the random yapping. Let's get right onto the video. So during the 7-day stream thing, I managed to acquire right before I started it the Vesper. This is the weapon I have been hyped about the most since I saw the update. We had a chance to try it obviously on the demo, and it felt really cool to use. It had a really cool mechanic with the zoom in feature that the gun has. And honestly, the actual unique trait it has isn't really that big as some people might think. It's not really that big of a deal, but overall, the weapon is average, I would say. You know, I'm gonna be honest. During the 7-day period, the 7-day challenge that I did, I had to pick a pistol that would be a good alternative to my primary when I had to pick out some really heavy targets and target those instead of using my primary, which was either an Ogris or a Kuvacom for my run. So to explain this in the best case scenario, I will go to the simulacrum to kind of simulate what the example is. So to show you that there is a really good use case for the Vesper. But sadly, there are better options than the Vesper, which is where the problem lies on. But overall, the Vesper is still a very solid weapon. So, on the sim, I will show you exactly what I mean. So, let's say you have like some targets, right? We're gonna simulate this guy's level 150 right now. We don't need more. So this guy is level 150. You play a normal star shot mission, you are using the Vesper. Okay, that's cool, that's great. So on the normal enemies, let's say you want to use like your primary gun. Here, I'll use my Salta. Okay, great. Lovely. So let's imagine that all of these enemies that I'm shooting right now, they're very weak enemies. Now, imagine this guy, for example, is a strong unit. He is an Eximus unit. So you would pick your pistol and you would do this, right? And that should be enough to like 1 or 2 tap him and get him out of the way, because that is really good to have. Genuinely, the strat that I went for and the thing that helped me the most out was the fact that I could, whenever I wanted, pull out my pistol at the time, which I will obviously show what it was, and just one tap whichever Eximus unit might have come by. Now, obviously, I had Mirage, which elevated the damage a lot, but considering the builds and the access to modding that I had and everything was very limited, it was basically Accuracy and all the damage modes that I had in my possession that managed to do the most of the stuff that I needed to do it. So, not even secondary did hit maxed out, nothing, only Galvanize shot maxed out of the mods on the other accounts. But overall, on the Vesper, with a fully overloaded build on damage without stacks, it does okay. Like, this is good. This is really good damage. And then with stacks, we can one-shot with Kavat buff. Overall, the damage is pretty cool. So, you know, the Vesper is pretty decent. The damage is there. There are some things that it lacks compared to another weapon that is in the game right now, which makes it inferior to that weapon. But for the purpose of this weapon being a one-shot wonder for whenever you want to shoot a very tough unit, you can simply just take it. And if you want to do that, the best thing you can do is go with the secondary fortifier again, since it deals 8 times extra damage to Overguard and completely obliterate that enemy. So if we switch this to the Fortifier Arcane, and we do the same thing, we'll see that if our Kavat is not trolling, we're hurting quite a bit. Now obviously, since Overguard isn't as big as some higher level ones, it looks like the damage is less. And that is because that hit is not stacked. But if you want to go for a build that just one-shots or two-shots these very tough enemy units, this is what you have to do. And you cannot go the other way around. Now, the other weapon that outshines this weapon completely, unfortunately, is the Tenet Planks. So, for the Planks, you may have less damage, but you have way better crit stat. And this is the key. Plus, the already innate damage is heat, and you can boost the already mentioned damage by getting the Progenitor, which takes it to around 100. So, with around 100 base damage on this thing, and not even a completed build, as you can see, I don't have... Oh, never mind, it doesn't get the other pistol. But we have the accurate build here going on and everything. Just pretty much same exact thing. But we save a mod slot because we can go Toxin here and not actually mod for it, which allows me to go Tainted Clip instead to boost the secondary fire. That is not important because it's secondary fire, but overall you will see that even though the damage per shots is way lower, like we'll actually see lower damage per shots, because this thing has no recoil, you can basically guarantee the rest of the shots. And you can easily just two-tap people no matter what level they are, plus faster reload, battery weapon, and of course, in case you need it, you have this. So you know, it is pretty bonkers, the Planks, compared to the Vesper. The Vesper, unlike the Planks, has a really good feel, really good looks. It just sounds and feels very cool to use. But the downsides are the sort of lengthy reloads and a pretty big recoil, especially if you don't use Deadhead. If you do use the Deadhead, the recoil is pretty manageable. It's fine. You just cannot spam it as much. But with Fortifier, you have to like pull down, you have to do micro adjustments. It is pretty large recoil. Like if I spam on this guy, you see what I mean? It's whatever. You have to like pull down, adjust, and yeah. Overall, it's still a very good gun for this purpose. Like for the purpose that you are someone who is still doing Star Shot, you're someone who is looking for a solid secondary weapon to help you kill slightly harder to kill units. This is a really good gun for that. Now, there is secondary enervate. It doesn't help, unfortunately, for this weapon a lot, because it does orange crit quite a bit, even with this much crit chance. If you have any other form of crit, like a Daza Kavat or anything, or if you have Acuity, which is already mentioned, this will guarantee an orange crit, and secondary enervate will therefore not really work. Now, you could go for something like Overcharge. Overcharge is fine. If you can get over shields or something like Cascadia Accuracy, that is also fine. It doesn't double dip, obviously, because it's a hit scan weapon. But at the same time, when you do get this all together, this is still doing very fine. And you can even use it as a kill weapon if you want to use it for a kill weapon versus the Demolist on Still Path disruption missions. So, you know, as a stacked pistol, you can one-shot level 150 heavy gunners. Not with ease, but you can. And that is very impressive. Now, this requires you obviously two things. First of all is headshots. Not everyone can headshot, especially when you're on console. Headshotting is way harder. And when we are talking about Warframe especially, Warframe is a game that enemies do move a lot, and headshotting becomes quite difficult on some units like the Butchers and the Scorpions and all those that move a lot. Plus there are the Infested, which are even harder to headshot, and also there are the Murmur units that some of them are simply impossible to headshot. But they're not very tanky, so let's take it into a normal mission. Also, there were quite a lot of not bugs, but there is a lot of Eximus enemies right now in the game. So having a secondary pistol like this, because of the amount of Eximus enemies, if you're lacking damage on your mods or your primary fire, let's say you're running a progress, and your mods are not maxed out, you're missing something, you don't have a Raven mod or anything like that, so killing those heavy units, those Eximus units, sometimes it's simply not possible. So having a secondary weapon to take care of those is really nice, especially considering that something like the Progress will put enemies on fire, so you will heat proc them, and sometimes you will even viral proc them, so it is really, really cool. Right now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the Bubonico, which, if you wanna prime with Bubonico or with some other weapons, these are heavily buffed, in my opinion, because we have Magnetic Velt now. So for the Bubonico, Magnetic Velt is absolutely insane. It has a guaranteed impact proc when you hit an enemy directly with a secondary fire. So this basically gives you a free magnetic proc instead of the impact proc. So this deals radiation, corrosive, heat, and viral, and magnetic, and impact. So there is quite a lot of going on in terms of priming with this weapon, and the best part about it is that you can even go deadhead to increase that headshot multiplier for every single weapon. So that is really, really good. So this is the build that we're gonna go with. It has both galvanized shot and pistol cannonade because of the aforementioned reasons of having a secondary weapon to do that kind of job that you wanted to do. And let's go to the beloved Kappa mission. Not on public. Not on public, please. Overall, Vesper is not really a disappointment. It's fine as a weapon. It feels really nice, which is the reason why I was so hyped about it. I really love these kind of pistols, which feel exactly like they came out of Metal Gear Solid. And obviously, it's something that I will use in my arsenal quite a bit if I do the aforementioned strats that I talked about, and I try to max it out as well. It's also really good because this weapon came out now, so in a few years, or not in a few years, but in a bit, when the Raven mode reaches like 0.7 or 0.8, and it's actually way more viable to use, this weapon might just be really, really strong, or even stronger than the Plinks. Because Plinks is never, and I do mean never, getting the disposition of the disposition is saying the same Plinks. So you can see on base steel path, this doesn't have any issues at all, no matter what units you put it against, but it will prefer if you have some kind of guaranteeing headshots. So let's go to the Demolist, showcase the priming effect from our Bubonico 2. So, as you can see, he has quite a bit of statuses, and after the Kavat armor stripping him, we did 2.8 million damage, which is really, really good. 2.8 million damage will one-shot this Demolisher up to level 800 with ease, and to one-shot the level cap Demolist, you will need around 50 million damage. So overall, that is really, really good to have, especially considering that in our kill, we didn't have Eclipse, and we could probably get some other priming stuff in there, some Kavat buff in there, because, you know, the other IPS stuff like Slash and Puncture, they're not added in through this weapon, they're not added into the Bubonico, which is the downside it has over the Cedo. But it's a bit more consistent when considering you have to add 10 stacks of viral if you want to do maximum damage. So, that's another Eximus unit where this weapon will shine using this build. And as you can see, they die extremely quickly once in. Also, it's really nice finally playing Wisp on the 7-day challenge. I was pretty much stuck to Mirage and Kolmei. They were by far the best choices for me to get. Kolmei, because she's a really strong early game frame. Her fourth ability for early game does bunker damage. And Mirage simply because I had to put some challenges on myself. And her movement being so fast, it helped a lot. So prime him and 2.7 million. No armor strip this time from the Kavat. Overall, some decent damages from this weapon. As I said, it's not quite a Planks. The Planks will take 2 shots to outdamage this weapon, but it will outdamage it by quite a bit. 2 more. Also, I'm not really sure if you don't have some kind of CC like I do with my operator. It's gonna be really, really difficult to try to kill acolytes. They're really hard to headshots generally. Some of them are really easy. I think Mania just stands still pretty much all the time, but some of them are outright impossible and move around all the time. So, let's go to this guy first. It is the Bailiff. 2.9 million. Then the Nox is last. This guy will take a lot of damage because he doesn't have any type of armor on his head. So 4.1 million, as you see, he has a lot more HP, so yeah. Takes 2 shots instead. But overall, it's a really strong weapon still, in my opinion. There is quite a bit of damage per shot. I still wish the passive was a bit stronger, because 40% flat crit chance, or flat crit damage, like 0.4 crit damage extra when you're aiming, that is not moddable by anything. It's not really the best. So 3-shotting Malice if we stun her. So headshots are guaranteed. Generally, it's kind of a headshot meta. I don't really mind that. I really like trying to headshot in this game, aiming in general. So headshot meta is something that I vouch for, genuinely. So I'm really happy IQD modes are in. I've made a video about IQD being strong and generally breaking some guns, and showcase the style a bit. But as you can see, even on something like a hitscan weapon, accuracy is pretty bonkers still. It is really, really strong. So even if accuracy does get quote-unquote fixed, because some people do think it's a feature, I do think it's bug, therefore I'm not using the Stalta that has accuracy. For context, this is my normal Stalta, and this is the Stalta that has accuracy. If you see this name, I'm using the quote-unquote bug Stalta. So overall, Vesper still a really good weapon. Is it top tier? No. Is it fun? Yes. Does it have uses? Yes. Overall, kind of underwhelming passive, and that's about it. Like, if this was either moddable or it was, let's say, plus 60%, so the base was, well, you can't say it, wait. Oh, right now, base is 2.6 crit multiplier. Okay, then, I don't know, 80%? Like, doubled, maybe? Then the weapon would be very good. But plus 40%, taking this from 7.7 to 8.1x, it's really not that big of a difference. Overall, secondary weapons, magnetic might, pistol accuracy, this help a lot to bring a meta to secondary weapons that favor this gun, but Tenet Links just outshines it in every way possible by having both a better primary fire and the extra secondary fire that does big bomba damage and helps quite a bit. So overall, I'd still give this a shot if I was you and you like the gun. I really like the aesthetics, so I'm definitely gonna use this. But in terms of having the best, the most meta guns in the game, it's unfortunately not hitting the mark. But overall, it's still great. So, thank you everybody for watching the first video of 2025. I know this is an underwhelming one compared to stuff I can usually do, but I have quite a lot of things in the works, so you will have to be patient with me. I am very sorry. So, once again, thank you very much for watching. Discord and Twitch links in the description below, and I will see you on the next video.